Well, first off, I wanted to say thank you all for coming out today. And if at any point you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, and I will try and respond to them as I am able. This is a parent presentation for both San Dimas and Lone Hill. For those of you who have been in my groups before, you kind of know the drill. Being at two sites, I, of course, am kind of drawn and pulled between both. And so we just kind of have all of our parents meet at the same time because all of our students, we try to make them feel like they're in the same family. Even though they might be at Lone Hill or they might be at San Dimas, we try to make our students feel like it's one choir department. And it sure helps that they have a teacher who's the same teacher because then, makes it so that they have that little bit of continuity. But let's get started here. First off, I want to showcase our new logo, which was designed by our senior, Abby DeBelka. We're very happy that she was able to design that for us. A little round of applause, I would think. We love it so much. All right, so let's get started here. Guess what? This is our first parent meeting since March 11th, 2020. March 11th. Yes, we had a parent meeting literally 3 days before all of the lockdown happened, all of the shutdown stuff. And I just want to let you guys know that it has been a year, or over a year, in fact, as we all know, of course. And I just want you to know that we've been busy. And I wanted to share a couple of accomplishments that we've been working on in choir before we move on to our regular scheduled parent, meeting kind of stuff. So let's get started with some of our accomplishments. A couple of things of importance for those of you who were in the department last year. We managed to get all of our money back from our vendors. If you were in choir last year, if you had a student in choir last year, we were literally about to head on the bus the Friday of lockdown for our Lone Hill tour. And then the following weekend was supposed to be our San Dimas tour, both of which obviously were canceled because of everything. But we managed to get all of our money back from our vendors, which is wonderful. In hindsight, not every organization was able to get that. So we are actually unique at San Dimas and Lone Hill for groups that were touring or doing things by being able to actually get all of our money back from our vendors. And so we were able to get all of our money dispersed back to y'all who had paid, and we got everything taken care of, which is exciting, so wonderful. We're so happy for that. A couple other things we did. We had a virtual award ceremony for our San Dimas students. I sat right over there, I think, and gave them a presentation. And fun fact, we actually just got the awards in the mail, 2 months ago. So I'm in the process of contacting all of our seniors that have already gone off into the wilderness, and I'm trying to get them their darn trophies. So I'm going to be passing out finally my choir awards from last year as we come up to our new choir awards. So that's kind of fun. Another blessing in disguise that we had was last year we had our concerts just before the lockdown hit, which again is something that not every school was able to do. Ramona, Bonita, Lone Hill Band, San Dimas Band, none of them were able to perform their spring concerts. And we were, because I like us getting our concerts out of the way early in the spring so that we can do festivals, we managed to actually be one of the only performing arts groups last spring from Bonita Unified to do our spring concert, which was pretty cool. Couple more things. We have increased our social media outreach and community engagement over the past year. So a lot of this now is more about this current year that we've been working through, this current school year. We've been doing more social media outreach, more community engagement. Students have been at San Dimas. They've been hanging out online more, of course, in Zoom, but also they've started, Discord chats with each other and group texts, and, they're still communicating, still building community with each other. And we know that because I actually asked a lot of the students to say, what is something you enjoy about choir? And even the students that have only been virtual with me, some of the kids that were new to me this year entirely, they still said that the thing they loved the most about choir was the community and being able to chat with people and make friends. And so even in a pandemic, people are still finding ways to communicate and to connect in choir. Increases in digital hangouts, virtual concert offerings. I hope a lot of you watched our virtual winter concert that we did. The kids put a lot of work into it. I put a lot of work into it. Those virtual choirs take a lot of effort. If you guys haven't thought about it too much, let me give you just a brief snippet of how much it takes. So, when you're creating a virtual choir, you can't record Zoom live, you know, and so because of the lag, which I'm sure all of us know now. And so, what you have to do is you have to take each individual student, and each individual student has to record their voice, and they have to get their voice separated from their video because the video also usually lags. And so what you have to do is you have to have every single student submit their audio and every single student submit their video. Then I have to sit there and take all of the audio files. At the middle school we did a piece that had all 120 students. I had 120 audio files that I then had to sync up. I then had to balance them so they were the same volume. I had to put them so that they sounded good, so they sounded like they were in a pretty space to sing. And of course, there's the kids that recorded it, and a chirp of their fire alarm goes off. By the way, check your smoke detectors, everybody. Being over Zoom, I'm so worried about some students because of their smoke detectors. But anyways, I hear them in the recordings and during Zoom. That's why I think about it. But so we have that, and then we would take all their videos and we would put them together in a grid. It took hours upon hours upon hours, and we're very thankful for that. This next concert we have coming up is actually very exciting. I'll tell you more about it later. But the students have been actually composing music themselves. So speaking of new skills taught this year, things that we've done that are new, we've been doing a lot more music theory. We've been doing mindfulness. We've gotten out of the habit of it in the past 2 or 3 weeks because things have gotten a little weird. But we've been doing, weekly meditations. I'm sure you might have seen your student either, paying attention or getting distracted during that time, or maybe they were actually meditating, but they have been given the tools to meditate. We've been doing more ear training online and composition. The Quarantunes concert that we're going to be premiering next week, your students broke into small groups and they learned how to use a compositional software known as Soundtrap. It's basically a version of GarageBand. And what they did was they worked together with their group. They collaborated. They created a composition. They used loops. They used their voice. They had to use different instruments around the house or found sounds in their environment. And it sounds fantastic. You're going to be really excited to hear them. And then they also had to create artwork to pair with their song. So it's been a whole process of them learning how to collaborate in a 21st century musical sense, being able to use these things that are called DAWs, digital audio workspaces, GarageBand, Logic, kind of things, all the things that all of their favorite artists use. And so they have, this year I was able to teach them some of those skills, which I learned because I was making all these virtual choirs. And so I was able to then share that knowledge with them. Also, I got married June 20th, 2020. We're finally going to have a big ceremony this summer. Last year we had just our parents and our siblings, socially distanced and all that whatnot. And so, it's been a year. So, out with the old, in with the new. Let's talk about reopening procedures. And again, let me remind you, if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to write them in the chat at any point. So reopening procedures. We are, of course, now in a hybrid setting. And with this hybrid setting, we have a couple of different procedures. So we are not allowed to rehearse indoors. We are still required by LA County to rehearse outdoors. Now, certain schools do what they want. I don't like breaking the rules, so I'm waiting for LA County to tell us that we can rehearse indoors. There are certain things where if we have barriers built into the rooms, we can rehearse indoors. And I know that Bonita Unified has considered purchasing some of those. I don't know where they are. We only have 7 weeks of school left. I'm not holding my breath, but we'll see what happens. But in the meanwhile, we're able to rehearse outdoors, which is amazing. We already started doing it this past week. If I saw your student on Monday, then we did a little bit of humming inside. And then if I saw your student on Tuesday, we weren't able to do any singing outside because it was raining, which was wonderful for the environment, but not good for singing outside. So what we have is we have masks available for all students. Your student can use their mask that they bring from home. If you want them to, they can wear a KN95. I've purchased enough masks for all of our students to have access to them. So if you are wanting them to wear something an extra step above, I have a KN95 for each one of your students for every rehearsal through the end of the school year. So we have taken the liberty of getting that for your students so that we can sing. My plan is to sing starting tomorrow outside with San Dimas. We also ended up purchasing a digital piano for San Dimas choir, so we could rehearse outside. But also, it was just a good thing for us to have. We didn't have a digital piano, if you can believe it. So whenever we like went on trips or whenever we went to go sing, like for a football game or something, or if we're going to sing outside for like a different event or like coffee house, those kind of concerts, I was usually bringing my keyboard from home, and San Dimas was like, no, 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 we'll take care of that. So I just put it all together the other day, and I still need to put the stand together tomorrow morning. So hopefully I can get that done before class, and we'll be singing outdoors tomorrow with San Dimas. Lone Hill, Miss Leva, and I have been working together to repair some of our instruments so that we can perform outside. And we got it. The band just rehearsed outside on Monday. They didn't do Tuesday because of the rain. Um, and we have a beautiful digital piano that we have gotten repaired to rehearse outside. Um, Through the end of the school year, our concerts will be virtual. I just know that our students have already gone through so much. We've already been working so hard, and they're so stressed just trying to pass their classes. I am not one of those. I've already talked with a lot of them about this, and a lot of them would rather just sing for singing's sake rather than trying to put together a huge concert to like, hey, everything's normal. A lot of them are burnt out, and I'm burnt out. And so we're practicing through the end of the year some self-care. We're going to just be singing some songs. We're going to just be, learning for learning's sake. We're going to be just kind of, singing some unison songs just to work through it. And also, honestly, some of my seniors and juniors, they need academic intervention. I have been talking with them about dedicating some of our class time to just literally helping them get caught up so they can pass high school and graduate. So yeah, we'll be moving back into doing graduation music, or not graduation, but we'll be looking at doing music and concerts again, of course, next year. But for this year, I'm approaching it with a we need to heal and we need to take care of ourselves first before we can go out and do these concerts. That being said, San Dimas, we are planning on having soloists for the graduation like we have had in the past. And so we are going to be starting those auditions, I believe, next week. I've been talking with the administration, and we're going to be having those auditions next week. So that is where we are right now. Do I have any questions about kind of where we are right now or anything about kind of through the end of this year? Wonderful. Again, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat. Or if you're watching this later on, please feel free to email me. You'll see my email at the very end. So let's bloom out of Zoom, shall we? This is the part that I really am excited to share with you. This is the part that I'm figuring out as we move along. And as always, if you have any ideas, please feel free to share them. For us to bloom out of Zoom, this is what we're going to be doing. I don't know what our schedule is for next year for concerts or touring or anything. I have learned that I need to just not plan ahead yet, but I will be giving that to you all as soon as I know. As soon as I know, you'll know. For the fall concert, I don't know where we're going to be by the time fall comes around with COVID or with vaccines or what have you. But what I have always wanted to do, and I think that if there was ever a time to do it, I've always wanted to do a concert outside in the fall. I mean, it's plenty hot enough in Southern California in October. Uh, I think that it would be really fun for us to have kind of a laid back welcome back to school kind of concert in end of September, early October. This would be something that would be outside in the quad. You'd bring your lawn chairs. It would be something with solos, some kind of poppy music for the kids to dig their teeth into. We would have a night for San Dimas, and then we'd have another night for Lone Hill. Um, this is kind of one of those things where, again, we're going to be having to rebuild a lot of our students' attention, a lot of their ears, their musical technique. Uh, and so, really, as part of that rebuilding process, I'm wanting to make it as fun as possible. And so, what's more fun than singing some of these cool, you know, pop songs and having a wonderful outdoor concert? That is something that I would like to start planning over the summer with y'all and some volunteers. I'm imagining we could have even some snacks outside there. We could have some drinks and soda pop that we could sell to people. Um, a real nice kind of end of summer kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we're thinking about. As for chamber choir, tentatively, we are looking at doing our retreat. We are not approved to do we're not approved to do any field trips yet at all. Of course, because of all the COVID and also everyone's just dealing with reopening. However, I and Miss Leva at Lone Hill have been looking ahead towards the future. Obviously, we're not going to be in this pandemic forever, and we're on the tail end of it now. So, chamber choir retreat, we're hoping we can do that the usual time we do it, which is end of September, early October, around the same time as this concert. We're hoping to do a spring tour. My plan is to do the spring tour that we were supposed to do last year and just get her done. It was going to be a wonderful tour. I planned it all out. It was going to be great. And so I am hoping that we can do that next spring. Lone Hill, we're hoping to do either a tour with the Lone Hill Band with Corollaires like we've done in the past, or if it doesn't quite line up, depending on the San Dimas tour, we might just end up doing some festival days where the students do a day at Disneyland and perform in a festival and do some enrichment classes and play in the park. We've done that before, and it's been a wonderful hit for the students, and so that's something that we're doing moving forward. Last but not least, I'm so excited. One of the blessings about this pandemic is how it's exposed us to new modalities of communication. And my goodness, parent meetings are going to be over Zoom, I feel like, forevermore. Amen? Amen. All right. Man, it's so much better. So, a couple of things. This is the part where I need your help. Um, this is where we can kind of have a little bit of conversation. Let me make sure. Yeah, let's jump to the upcoming events first. So, next week, we're going to be doing our Quarantunes concert premiere. That's that spring concert of your students' compositions. I am putting it all together and processing it like tomorrow and Friday, and I'm hoping to get it done by next week. But it's a lot. I think it's something like 45 or 50 tracks that I'm splitting across three different, like, it would be like three different CDs or whatever, three different LPs. But so that's coming up next week. Graduation for San Dimas is June 6th. That's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. 7 p.m. Don't quote me. There was a letter that went out today. You'll know. School ends on June 10th, and then school starts August 23rd. So let's talk about the things we need. Um, oh, is it the 8th? Let me double check. Yep, you're right. It's the 8th. So there you go. Ignore that. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Um, Terry keeping me straight. We like that. So next year, what we need to start thinking about. If you're new to our choir program is built off of volunteers. Um, I believe in the idea of building community. Our choir is a community, and our students were wanting to teach them how to be a part of something bigger than themselves and how to participate as a community member. I'm from a small town originally. Everybody knew everybody else. Everything was everybody, throwing in their effort and wanting to help everyone out. And I think that it is our job to emulate that community aesthetic for our students. And so for everything we do together. Everything we do together. And to do that, we need volunteers. To do that, we need volunteers. We need people to volunteer their time. If you can't volunteer your time, volunteer your money. If you can't volunteer your money or time, talk to me and I'll find something to have you help me out with. you know, it takes a lot to run a 200-person choir department, and what makes it easy is having y'all help me make it the best it can be. And it also gives us ownership. It gives us all ownership in this thing that we're trying to build, this family of music that we are building for our students so that they can feel a place of belonging at their campuses. So, first things first, we are going to be needing to elect new board members for the fall. We'll be doing this over summer. If you are somebody who's interested in volunteering for these roles, please let me know. We have our president, who is the person who's in charge of our volunteers. Vice president, who helps out the president for those things. That was Anna Chavez and Kim Lowry. Anna Chavez was not able to make it this evening, but I believe she is still interested in helping us out. Kim Lowry is one of the secretaries at San Dimas, and her student just graduated last year. He's now at Boise State. He's singing in their choir. We're so happy for him. Our treasurer is Yvonne Pena. She has a student who's graduating this year, so we're going to need to fill that position, as well as our secretary, Lisa Martins. She had a student who graduated last year. It was really tricky because obviously, we had all the students from last year graduate, and then we've been in Zoom pretty much this whole year. So it's like 2 years have just gone poof, year and a half. It's crazy. So if you're interested in volunteering for any of these board positions, please email me at my school email address, j.pugh@bonita.k12. You know the drill. Some things that I'm looking for input on, and we're going to chat about these here in just a minute. I'm just going to bullet through these, and then we're going to chat about them. The first one is ideas for seniors 2021. I know that the school is doing a lot for the seniors, and I would like to kind of discuss some ideas if you have any other ideas. My idea for it is to do do our regular award ceremony that we do at the end of the year. It'll still be virtual, but we would have a component where we do a senior showcase on social media for all the seniors graduating. And that was what we did for class of 2020. But if you have any other ideas or things you would think that would be great, let me know. Also, ideas for community events leading into next school year. I am really wanting us to have a push at the end of summer to get students excited about being back in school normally and being back in choir. Alfie, hush. That's my puppy, sorry. So things like a parent barbecue for us all to get energized and unified on what we want to do with our choir family and our community. And then also perhaps even having a student barbecue or a student event where we just have them all hang out at San Dimas Canyon and we bring a Weber grill and we just grill a bunch of hot dogs. It doesn't have to be anything big and fancy, just something to build community. So, if you have ideas for other community events we can do, that would be wonderful. Additionally, I am looking to create a wardrobe committee. This wardrobe committee would be temporary, of course. It wouldn't be permanent. But what they would do is they would make a recommendation for updating our uniforms. We have had the same uniforms at San Dimas now for about 12 years, 14 years. Some of them are getting real smelly. And I will say also that the ideas behind dress code for choir have changed substantially in the past couple years. So a lot of performing arts organizations, I have many friends that sing in Los Angeles Master Chorale, in symphony choruses. Concert black is not really so much like a choir dress or anything like that anymore. It's usually what's considered concert black, which is you look nice. It's black top, black bottom, black belt, black shoes, or it could be black dress. For gentlemen, it's a black button up with a black tie, or for ladies, it's kind of like you can use black pants or you could do a long skirt. And a couple of reasons that I'm wanting to adjust this as well is for accessibility for many of our students. A lot of our students aren't able to buy a new suit for the program. I have a lot of boys who join the program who have difficulty coming up with the money to buy a suit, and it's actually a couple of students I've had to either help them buy a suit, or they've not wanted to join because they didn't even think they could buy one. And I've also had a lot of students who um, are non-binary. I have students who are non-binary or are they're a countertenor, and so they sing in a high range, but they're identify as a male, and so they're standing up there in an ensemble full of dresses, and they're standing there with a tie, and they feel awkward about it, understandably. So what I'm looking for with this wardrobe committee, if you're interested, is for some ideas on how to codify something that is accessible, and making it easier for students to kind of unify on maybe a new uniform, or we can pick like a new uniform that kind of works for everything. These are all ideas we can talk about in the meeting that the committee would like to have. And this is something that could be through email. We wouldn't even have to meet over Zoom, maybe like once, just to share some ideas. Or you can just, share it out via email. And lastly, recruitment and retention ideas. I've been throwing a lot of stuff at y'all, but recruitment and retention has obviously been very difficult for performing arts through a pandemic. In the past year and a half, we have lost a lot of students, understandably, because a lot of them don't want to sing over Zoom. And then even more, I have lost because their grades have suffered and they have needed to drop to pick up their grades. Now, of course, I want them to do that, but also our choir needs a critical mass of people to survive, and we want to have those students understand that there is a home for them to sing in the future, that this pandemic isn't going to last forever, and not to make permanent decisions based on temporary circumstances. And so I have been reaching out to a lot of students that have left, that have they've had to take a class or they've had to do something else, and I have already started to get a lot of them coming back. But of course, talking with your students, seeing if they're interested in choir next year, building up that idea to them of the family and community that they're a part of, the support that they are automatically attached to, having their friends in choir and being able to go on trips again, being able to sing again, being able to have a period in the middle of the day that isn't AP classes, a period where they can just relax, connect with their friends, and explore their creativity. This is something that is important to the students. And I can say it as a teacher until I'm blue in the face and they'll never listen to me. But if their friends or their parents say it, all of a sudden, oh, that sounds like a great idea. I'm sure you've experienced that before. So, all of that to say, lastly, if you have any questions or comments or ideas or random things that I missed, let me know. j.pugh@bonita.k12.ca.us. This is how to get a hold of me. As always, my email is very open. I respond as quickly as I can. But I guess kind of all of this to say, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we all chatted, and we've all been through a lot. And with the light now at the end of the tunnel, the healing can begin, and the rebuilding can begin. And I'm wanting us to build together this new choir normal together as a San Dimas and Lone Hill community, coming together and building something for our students that they can feel seen, that they can feel nurtured, and that they can feel some healing and connection. After a year of not being connected with people, I think that we need choir more than ever. And so I hope that you help me rebuild and bloom out of Zoom. And that's about it for me with my presentation. So I'm just going to stop sharing. So that's kind of where we're at. Do I have any questions, any comments, anything before we kind of, close down for the night? The good news is if you really liked all this presentation, you can watch it again later.